Hello, Vic. How's it going?
What's up, man? Just chilling. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. As always, Mike is on Mike time, so I fully expect him to interrupt us when uh
He's on
when he
CP
arrives.
time.
Right.
In other
So before he
words.
gets here, let's answer the first question that we never seem to answer. How was
Uh-huh.
your week?
Oh man. So we're rolling now, huh? We're rolling. Okay, yeah. I'm doing well. I mean, I'm just taking it easy, one day at a time and whatnot. Teaching the class and that sort of thing. But I'm just looking at your president.
I think
It's
Mike is
just,
rubbing off on you.
he
I
never
think Mike is
ceases to
rubbing off
amaze
on
me.
you.
What's that?
Mike's rubbing off on you.
He never ceases to amaze me. This guy wants to open up all of the schools, all of the public schools across this country this fall. What are your thoughts about that, man? There's too many moving parts to this thing to do something like that.
Mike has really rubbed off on you because again, we can never just
I'm all
say
about diving right
how
into
your week was.
the issue,
How your
the
week was.
issue
That's
at
it.
hand, right? But
That's it.
to answer your question, I'm doing fine, I'm doing well and whatnot. I wish I could really go on a real vacation, maybe to Tahiti
Yeah.
or to the
Okay, so
Bahamas
I'm gonna give you
or to
time.
Jamaica,
You
something like
know,
that, chill on a
go sit down.
beach. I might not be able to do that today though, right?
Right,
But
right.
I'm doing fine though, aside from
Mike
that.
is there, but he's talking to other people, so we'll
No,
bring him in when
I'm
he's
on,
done
I'm
talking
on,
to other
I'm
people.
on, I'm on.
Nah,
Hey, my people.
So now Mike is
How y'all
outside
doing
too.
today?
Mike outside
I'm
too.
moving around. I apologize. Yeah, hey, well, look, I ain't got the mimosa,
Uh-oh. He's breaking up.
but I'm doing okay.
There he
Okay,
is.
I'm in a bad area.
Okay.
Y'all probably can't hear me now, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Y'all can't hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't have a beautiful backdrop of being in Tahiti because you look like you're on a vacation. You look like you're on a vacation. Are you on vacation?
I'm somewhere in an undisclosed location in Genesee County.
Okay. You look like
Vic
you're in the
better be
tropics.
glad. Vic better
You're
be
in the
glad that I'm not the tattling kind. Otherwise, I'd tell you where it was.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Hey, don't tell where the bat cave is,
There you
Candice.
go. That's
Don't do
right.
that.
That's right. That's right.
Don't tell where the
It's a
bat cave
secret.
is. It's a secret.
What, Mike? No
I
shirts today,
understand that. I
man?
definitely
You
understand
don't
that.
have a Rick James shirt on or a James
Well,
Brown shirt on or nothing like that, man?
well, no,
Parliament Funkadelic?
I was. Well, I got one thing to say. I'm gonna represent Flint. Terry Crews. That's what I'm saying today.
Oh, your boy Terry
Terry
Crews.
Crews.
Man, I've been catching
Yes,
flack. I've been
Terry
catching
Crews.
flack from my friends because they say Terry
Right,
Crews is from the same side of town that I'm on and that he catting.
right,
Brothers been coming down hard on Terry Crews, man.
He went to Flint Academy, and you know what? By and large, what Terry's saying makes sense, right? I get where he's coming
What
from.
about the black supremacy?
It
The
makes sense.
danger of black supremacy?
No, not that. Let's go with what he said.
Okay.
What he said was what Terry said was real simple. He said he wasn't the kind of person that sees black people as being bad or white people being good or white people being good or black people being bad. There's good and bad in everybody. So he was trying to say, the brotherhood thing, and he kind of got mixed up on what he was doing and saying things. Now he did make a mistake because he did the Chicago backstep that a lot of conservatives use to talk about Black Lives Matter.
True.
So I don't know where he's going with that, but what he was saying in general was okay. I think.
Did you see the interview? Did you see the interview on Roland Martin's show?
What's that?
Did you see the interview on Roland Martin's show?
No, I didn't. I saw the one on Don Lemon's show, and that's where he messed up. What's that?
And see now when he was talking to Roland Martin brought up the statement he made about the possibility of black supremacy coming out of the statement Black Lives Matter, and I don't see the connection. I don't think
right.
that's, to be honest with you, an issue, to be honest with you. However, the point that I do agree with him on is that he says that we need to have more than one perspective in the Black community. And I agree with that. I do agree with that. We don't have to walk in lockstep, nor all of us have to sing off the same page philosophically all the time.
Exactly. I'm in a space where I can't talk as much, but let me say this. I think one of the problems that Terry Crews has and other people do have in the city of Flint and other places is that we want to bring everybody together. Now, I know there's no danger of Black supremacy. I don't understand where that comes from. But yeah, he does want to have brotherhood. But when you start using conservative talking points, that's where the danger comes in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to disagree with the both of you.
Oh, wow, really?
Oh, okay.
Come on, Miss Candice, tell us what time it is, my sister.
I feel like Terry Crews was pandering. I feel like he's gotten comfortable in a space where he is white famous or white accepted, and he wants to keep that. I don't think for 1 second that it's really about he believes Black supremacy is a thing that can happen. I don't believe
what he said, though. He said that.
Okay, people say a lot of things. I don't believe he believes that. I think that with Terry, again, he's in a space where he feels like he's comfortable and he's accepted by all, and he's got to come out and speak this, because if you just look at his statements, what his statements have been, even when Gabrielle Union brought up the fact that, she felt like she was being discriminated against, what did he say even then? Terry is doing everything he can to make it seem like, oh, wait, no, be quiet. Okay, we don't want police killing people, but at the same time, let's not act like we want too much equality either. I feel like that's the space he's coming from.
What about the statement, Candice, that he made about there being room in the Black community for multiple perspectives, insofar as that's concerned? Because sometimes, Candice, I gotta say this, sometimes, man, people come across, not only in our community, but since we're talking about our community, in such a way that if you don't agree with me, then you're wrong. You're the enemy. You gotta look at everything the same way I do. There's no room for individuality.
I do agree that there are multiple perspectives, but again, that's not just in Black community, that's in life and humans in general. I do believe that there are multiple perspectives.
Candice,
there's a difference
Terry
between,
was talking specifically about Black people, though.
I know, but there's a difference
in the Black community.
There's a difference between I have a perspective and I'm trying to pander and I'm trying to pull focus. He started talking about something that none of us is talking about. You know what I'm saying? He started saying stuff that nobody is saying. Nobody is saying that, oh, Black people are better or we think we're better. And it's like Mike said, you start using those conservative talking points, you start sounding crazy. It's almost like you're trying to pull focus. It's almost like you want to be the one that they choose. It's like you're trying to be Candace Owens for the man version,
But what about multiple perspectives, though, Candice? What about multiple perspectives in the Black community?
But this is the thing. Like Mike said, he's saying something that's not what's being said, though. That's not.
Hold on. So you mean politically, all Black people have the same exact view?
I'm saying to you, no. Did you not hear me say about the Black supremacy part? I'm saying
I'm good on that. I bypassed that one. I'm good on that one. That's irrelevant.
But that's what I'm
talking
saying.
About multiple perspectives.
But that's where I'm saying
that's what I'm talking about. What about that?
That's what I'm saying where I disagree. You all interpreted what he said one way. I took it another way. I think it's rhetoric, and I don't think he believes
He was clear on Roland Martin's show when he made that statement. When I saw it now, and he was making that point about the need for multiple perspectives, and sometimes not just in our community, in this country where we are right now, we don't do well in terms of multiple perspectives. We're very binary, man. We ain't trying to hear nobody else. Let's be clear. Americans are pig-headed.
He changed his tune after he got caught out on Twitter, because if that's what he was saying, he would have said that from the beginning on Twitter. That's not what
I don't know what he said on Twitter. I saw him on Roland Martin.
But what I'm saying to you is everybody is upset about what he's tweeting. He can go on a Black show and say one thing, but what he tweeted, that's completely different. And he didn't say that until after he got called out about his tweet.
What did he say when he tweeted?
Well, what he tweeted, let me say this. What he tweeted was, he said that Black Lives Matter shouldn't turn into Black Lives Only Matter.
Yeah, he said that on the show too. Yeah.
Right. And so, like Candice was saying, my problem with Terry isn't the overall message. It's that he's using conservative talking points. Now, once you start doing that and you start moving into the black supremacy mode, you lost me, right? And for a proud Flintstone to go down that road means he is what Candice said. He is out of touch. He's been in Hollywood too long.
So but he's doing a Stephen A. He's doing the Stephen A. shuffle. I love Stephen A. shuffle. Right. I get it. Hey, I get it. Don't knock the hustle. Don't. That's. I feel you, Candice. Don't knock the hustle. This my deal. Protect my money. I feel you.
Wait a minute now. That's always been our problem. I
agree, Mike.
I didn't say I agree with his position. I said I see where he's coming from.
No,
I didn't say
I just said that. But is that not what I just said? If he's pandering because of the position he's in? And I want to say hello to everybody that's on Facebook. We do see your comments, and we're gonna get to your comments. So hello to everybody that's joined us on Facebook. I'm trying to tell you, if it was coming from a pure place, then when he tweeted, he would have tweeted all of that. Terry tweeted stuff to get attention so he could go get put on TV somewhere.
All right, so hold on. Hey, Candice, you made a great point. Terry likes the attention. That's problematic.
What's that?
He likes the attention.
Oh,
that's a problem. As a black man, if you're constantly seeking attention, that is a problem. And Terry does this. He jumps in on different things and starts talking about attention. He talked about the guy grabbing his butt or whatever. Remember that? He said somebody grabbed his butt. Like, dude.
He's trying to stay relevant, right? He's trying to stay relevant in Hollywood, right?
Right.
As long as they're talking about me, right?
He didn't say that they grabbed his butt. He said they grabbed something else, and that I wasn't there. That's neither here nor there. But what I am saying is that he sells controversy or says or tweets something controversial, and then once called out about it to get on TV and to get that attention. I just think Terry trying to keep a check. And for y'all to keep saying something about Terry and Flint, Terry don't even claim us, so we're not gonna claim Terry.
Well, no. I disagree with you on that. Listen, I've had conversations with him specifically. He does claim Flint, and I won't let that go. But what I will say is this: he's out of touch, Candice. He's out of touch.
What do you mean he claims Flint? I watch videos and everything he does. He might claim it to you in person, but I don't see him riding for Flint.
No, I disagree with you. When the stuff went on with the water initially, he talked a lot about Flint. He donated water. He did all of that.
Okay, all right, Mike. One of the Facebook users did say, though, one of the Facebook users said that nobody ever said only Black Lives Matter but him. He was trying to get something that was not actually there. He was trying to start something. And I agree with that. Big, that's what he said on Twitter. Like, oh, we can't act like only Black Lives Matter. And it was like, Terry, nobody said that. Nobody said that.
Right.
I feel you.
Yeah. Look, he's drinking the Hollywood Kool-Aid, and so that's the problem. And he's got to come back home, see what the real problems are, and deal with them. Look, whenever I start hearing people talk about Chicago and the murders in Chicago, my antenna go up, right? Because you can't equate governmental killings of Black unarmed citizens with stupid people or fools killing each other in Chicago. But hold on. There is an equation of racism, or systemic racism, is causing both of them, right? Both of them are caused by systemic racism.
Mm-hmm.
So when you got murders in Chicago, a lot of that is caused by retaliation because the police don't come in our neighborhood. They don't show up. They don't investigate murder. So you feel like you got to get justice and take it in your own hands. I don't understand this. So let me get this right. Remember the two people that were on their porch when the Black Lives Matter was walking through the neighborhood, and everybody held them as heroes. The lawyer and his wife, when he had a rifle and the wife had a pistol, and they were talking trash to people. Y'all remember those two people?
Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
Right.
Now, Black folks have to do that every day because we can't count on the police. But we're not held as heroes when we do it in our neighborhood. There's a backstory every day of somebody Black having to keep a horde of fools and ne'er-do-wells off of their porch, off of their neighborhood, because when they call the police, they don't show up. Then when there's a murder, the police say, hey, you know what? It's just another Black person dead. Who cares? The murders don't get solved. And then we have retaliation because we don't get the murder solved, because nobody cares about Black lives. So
I just want to point out a couple of things there in what you said. I think I want to start with first, one of the things that we said last week, one of the things that we're clear on is that black on black crime is a myth. Murder happens in proximity. Most white
Right.
people are murdered by other white people. Most Hispanics are murdered by other Hispanics. Most Asians are murdered by other Asians. I just think that, especially with the way that things are reported, are there systemic issues? Absolutely. Is what Mike's saying correct about the fact that a lot of the times, especially if you use Flint as an example, we don't have the police force. There's to even come in and check out those crimes or come when there's active shooters or things of that nature here in Flint. But I think another thing we want to look at is I'm going to put some onus of that black on black crime myth stuff on the media as well as some other things, because it's amazing how you have a million positive, impactful things that happen in black communities, and the news will literally only report the bad stuff. Like, there's a saying that if it bleeds, it leads. And it's kind of like that's part of the toxicity. That's part of the problem, and acting like everything that's bad is black and everything connected to black people is bad or it's negative. And that's how you end up with all of these stereotypes and all of these biases from people who never bother to leave their communities to go into black communities to see all of the positive things that happen. Yeah, there are a lot of negative things that happen, but again, like Mike said, a lot of it is systemic. A lot of it is, again, it's only what the media is willing to report or talk about. I think that there has to be and we're seeing some of it, but I think there needs to be even more of a push, even more of a rising up. I think that it's got to go beyond the marching and the protesting. And like I told you before, while I get America is based on symbolism in the black community, we can't afford to just stop at symbolism. It's got to go beyond symbolism for us. It's literally got to leak over into policy. It's literally got to leak over into laws. It's literally got to leak over into procedures. Because when we settle for symbolism, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen is that in a few months from now, when 2021 hits, we're right back where we are, where we've been, not being heard. Nothing's changed. And everybody's going to say, well, what did you really push for? Or we took down those statues. What's the problem? When you took down the statues, but you didn't attack the system that's still keeping you down. You took down the statues, but you didn't require the character control, because again, you can't regulate someone's heart, but you didn't require the character control that is law to change in your favor. And so when I say you can miss me with the symbolism, Mike, what I mean by that is simply we have to go beyond symbolism. Symbolism does us no good. Cupid shuffling with the police does us no good. Turning protests into parades does us no good. Again, taking down the statues is a start, but that's fine. But at the end of the day, if that's all that happens, we are no better off now than we were. And you have this huge global push and everybody standing with you, and you didn't really push to get anything done. You had more people standing up with bullhorns and being a loudmouth out front, and those people not knowing how to really ask for what they need to ask for, or not really asking for anything, but they got the fame of it all. So you got some more. You've got some more what it appears to be, and I'm not dissing Al Sharpton or anything, but when I say Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson, I mean you got some more people in the spotlight, but that's all you got is a spotlight. You didn't get any real change.
Well, look, welcome to my world, Candice. I've been talking about what you just said for a while. This movement needs to have some legs, right? It needs to have some policy behind it, and I'm with you on that. That's what we need to have. I totally agree with that. But also I want to talk about the systemic racism of what you just talked about. The systemic racism means that it bleeds and leads. And that's why our communities only get covered about the bleeding stuff. Well, right now there's a lot of murders in Chicago. And they keep using Chicago, but there were murders 20 years in Chicago. There were murders 40 years ago in Chicago. All of a sudden, when it shapes their narrative and they want to put it up against police officers, government sanctioned murder of black unarmed citizens, two different things, right? You can go out, you can be a good kid, and you can get murdered by a police officer. That's a whole different perspective. And we want to talk about what the government could do to stop. But both of them are involving the police not doing their jobs properly.
I think at the end of the day,
we've
got to learn to focus. And I think what happens is we lose focus. And I understand, and I think it's for multiple reasons. I see a few people that they feel as though their humanity is finally being recognized after feeling as though they're dogged out. So then they get easily pulled away by that of, oh, they recognize I'm alive, or oh, they're treating me like they like me right now. And so people
That's right.
you get thrown off course by that. Then you've got other people. Oh, the statues are being changed. The courthouse is being changed. We got another street. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And then they get thrown off by that. Then you've got some other people.
Right.
Oh, they're holding town halls. They said they understand. They're telling us that racism is a problem in the Black community. Duh, you knew that. You didn't
Right.
need anybody to tell you that. You don't need
Yep.
a town hall for somebody to sit in your face and tell you what's wrong when you already know what's wrong. They want to come and have a town hall with you. They need to be sitting at that town hall. And I keep saying this, with their policy out, right there,
Right.
going precept by precept of that policy, going line by line of that policy, and saying, this is what this says. This is how we change this right here now. I'm tired of town halls where we come and everybody feels good because they told us, they hear us. No, you don't hear me because it's still the same when you leave. So you didn't hear me.
But that's what they give us, Candice. They've been giving us that for decades.
That's what you accept, Michael.
Well, hold on, wait a minute. I don't accept that. So you're not talking about
you.
me.
I'm not
Right.
saying you.
Well, see, but they understand it's about Black folks. Let them scream and holler. Let them get it out. That's why they let them even do riots and stuff. Make them think they're doing something, but they're really not doing anything. They're not doing a doggone thing. Look, name me one law that's been passed because of this right now, because of the riots.
But Mike and Candice, right? This comes down to ownership once again, right? We keep treating this as if this is a spectator sport. This is our life.
I agree.
This is my life. This is your life. This is your life. This is all of our lives and whatnot. This is not a doggone spectator's sport. We need to be directly involved in this. And until the Black community takes advantage of the situation and grabs the bulls by the horn, we're going to keep on getting what we got. And that's insanity.
Of course.
Period.
So you keep getting what you got because you got people that say,
look, here it is, Mike. I'm sitting back looking at the council people and waiting for them to do something. I'm waiting on the state legislature to do something. I'm waiting on the state senator to do something. I'm waiting on the U.S. senator to do something, rather than me getting out there and forcing their hand and being actively involved. It's a spectator sport. People are sitting back and they're looking at other people from a passive perspective. That's part of the problem too.
I'm going to tell you why I agree. I literally posted a post on Facebook where I said somehow we've gotten this thing flipped. We somehow have forgotten that elected officials, whether they're or your union representatives, whatever they are, we somehow have forgotten that they work for us. We somehow have forgotten that when they are running for office, this is literally them interviewing for a job with us as a whole. That when they're elected, they are hired. It's not once they're elected, oh, they get to do whatever they want, or because a lot of people say this all the time, like, oh, it's politics, or all politicians lie, or whatever they may think. And I keep thinking, you do realize you're in charge of them, and it is not the other way around. It is not the other way around. And if nothing else shows you that they understand job loss, or if nothing else shows you that they understand losing money, or they understand having a fire under them, how quickly did they come outside to come march with you, come Cupid shuffle with you, to come wear some kente cloth with you, when they could have been doing it all along? But once the pressure was applied, how quickly did they come out of their comfortable seats to come and acknowledge that you were there?
Absolutely.
Come on now. So my
no doubt about
that is your proof. That's your proof right there, that they understand that the masses are in charge, and that ultimately what you want, and that you are their boss. But they need to keep you low so you don't realize that you're their boss.
Exactly.
The reality is that all that lawmakers do what they want. They can do this, they can do that. No, they cannot.
Exactly.
They cannot. They work for you. They work for you. And I don't understand why a lot of people don't grasp that concept. And I think, as being a person that has had the duality of working in government and still being a resident, I used to sit up there all the time, and I thought like a resident the whole time I was there of, this is crazy. All of this is crazy. If you're saying that we have these systems and all of this stuff is supposed to work and be built for people, then you tell me why the majority of the people are suffering. If all of these systems are supposed to work and be built for people, then you tell me. So today, prime example. I put up 2 posts today, right? Because there were 2 things that came out in a press release. There was one that came out about consumers' energy, trying to raise the prices of energy, right? And then there was another one about people having to wear masks Keep in mind now, which post do you think got more attention?
The mask.
Absolutely. I'm sitting up here and I'm thinking, I'm telling you that you have this corporation that in the midst of a pandemic, yes, they filed in February. This is in the state of Michigan. Yes, they filed in February to raise your rates. However, once we started going through this pandemic, one, I'm going to start with no, they shouldn't even be trying to raise your rates. But once they filed in February and they started seeing we're going through a pandemic, you think they ever dropped that? You think they said, no, never mind? Here we are in July, and you have the Michigan Attorney General fighting against Consumers Energy, which has received pandemic money so that people, so that they wouldn't have to raise people's rates, or so that they would still be paid in the midst of a pandemic. They received pandemic money, and they're still going forward. We're trying to raise people's rates in the midst of a pandemic that they keep hearing that that we don't even know when it's going to be over.
Exactly.
And you mean to tell me you're more upset about a face mask, talking about how that's intruding on your personal rights, when like literally you are in public maybe this long. You're not in public in an enclosed space all day, but you know where you are? You are in your house. You are watching your television. You are using your lights. You are washing your clothes. You are using that gas. You're using that different energy for for several different things. And if you look at the stats, most people in the state of Michigan are on a payment plan to this company. So if we're already on a payment plan, not me particularly, but most other people, if you're on a payment plan to this company, and they see you already can't pay the rates that they're charging you, why then are they trying to charge you more?
Absolutely. That's the question. That's the question. There's no doubt about that. That's the real question. So what's it going to take, Candice, for the people to wake up, right? To understand that we, the people, has teeth in it. That's a real statement. That's the reality. That's the truth.
I think the biggest thing that we've got to realize is they keep you at a very base level with this race war thing. You know what I'm saying? They keep you at a very, if we can keep you here and keep you focused on you're white or you're black, if we can keep you there and keep that argument, don't get me wrong, because racism is beyond ignorant. I don't understand it. I think it's the stupidest thing, one of the stupidest things ever. I can't comprehend you not liking someone or you wanting to keep someone oppressed because of their skin color. I can't comprehend someone buying into that. It's ignorant, it's evil, and it's stupid. It's just dumb. And my thing is, you got some people who want to be that ignorant, who want to be that evil, who want to be that hateful. And I'm not even going to get into what I want to say to those people. But what I am going to say is, while you're sitting back, again, it goes back to the cookie thing. You're sitting back, you're at this table, 3 of you at this table, a wealthy white man, a poor white man, and a black man. And it's 13 cookies. The wealthy white man takes 12 of those cookies, looks at you, the poor white man turns and looks at you, says, you better get that cookie before that black man takes your cookie. Meanwhile, he's running off with 12 other cookies, and you worried about a black man getting one. I don't even understand the thought process.
It's the bacon rebellion all over again, Candice. It's the bacon rebellion all over again. It's classic divide and conquer. While
they're doing that,
they drove a wedge effectively between the black group and the white group.
And while they got you down here looking stupid, disliking somebody because they're black, or disliking somebody because they're Hispanic or because they're Asian, they running off with everything, leaving you poor, raising your consumers' bills, and benefiting off of it when you're already on a payment plan. You're sitting up there, you're believing the myth that somebody is lazy or another race is lazier. Meanwhile, you're sitting up there, your poor behind is sitting up there on government assistance. Not able to move up or get better jobs. And it's not because the black person is holding you down, because it's been proven statistically that a white man with a high school education can get a better job than a black man with a college degree. So then you got to stop and ask yourself, how are they holding me down if me with my lesser degree, with no degree, can move in a better station in life than them? How are they holding me down if I can decide that I want to live on this side of town simply because I'm white and they can't come this way because they'll fear for their life? How are they holding me down? You got to start looking at who's actually holding you down.
It's systemic. But people get comfortable with that, though, Candice, right? People get comfortable with this. This is deeply ingrained, as you alluded to, into the psyche of American people, right? Particularly our Caucasian sisters and brothers. This goes back some 500 years, Candice. It's so deeply baked within the fabric of American society. How do you unearth that, right? How do you
Right.
unearth that?
I do want to look at a couple of these Facebook comments. Shardy did say that, and he said this a while ago, that if I move out of the city of Flint, I will always publicly claim Flint. I will always love this community. Jeff said, good evening. Hi, Jeff. How's it going? Casey was laughing at me saying not me particularly when I was talking about the payment plan. And the only
Okay.
reason I said not me particularly is because I don't want to be a fraud and claim a struggle or act like I have, I'm going through something that I'm not. That's the only reason I said
Yeah.
not me particularly.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff said, is that a public utility company? And Carl says, Candice and Vic, do you believe the Black Lives Matters mission statement helps or hurts on disrupting Western prescribed family structure?
Okay. Have you read that statement, Candice? Are you
Let me
familiar
see if
with
I
it?
can pull it up for you. Hold on, I have my laptop right here. Let me see if I can pull it up. But
Okay.
no, Vic, what do you think about this? Because I've been saying, have I not been saying for these years that we've been on that racism is absolutely a problem? But I think that the thing that non-wealthy white people don't understand is racism is hurting you, and it's keeping you down, and it's distracting you from those wealthy people who don't want to see you come up either. And the thing that you better
Absolutely.
understand is that at the end of the day, because if you look at America in its conception, or if you go a little bit beyond that, and you look at when there were only what 3 or 4 wealthy families, right? When they were fighting, you had like the Chase family and all those guys, and they were fighting over the trains. Like Monopoly is based off of real life. I don't know if people know that, but Monopoly is literally based off of real life, where you had those wealthy families who, once they amassed a certain amount of wealth, they started trying to take
Absolutely.
from each other. They started
Absolutely.
they started doing the Highlander movement, where they were like, oh, there can be only one. We want to be the
There you
only
go.
wealthy white family, or we want to be the only wealthy people. So I
Yeah.
think that I say that to say to non-wealthy white people, do not be mistaken and believe that if this world were eradicated of black people or brown people or Asian people, yellow people, whatever you want to call them,
Uh-huh.
if this world was eradicated of anything other than white people, that you would be okay. Because then you
Uh-huh.
would be the new black person. You would be the new brown person. They would
There you
find it
go.
reason to discriminate against you. I find it amazing how everybody can conveniently remember when we began to talk about slavery, everybody conveniently remembers how the white Irish were treated when we're talking about black people in slavery. But then when we talk about white people in wealth, all of a sudden y'all forget how they treated the Irish. All of a sudden y'all
Hello.
forget how
Hello.
they had them at one point in cages, or at one point they treated them like they were nothing. It was literally because the poor Irish started banding together with people of other colors that they even came up with race as a construct to begin with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? You raised so many great points, my friend. You raised so
I'm
many great
sorry, go ahead.
points.
I'm trying to pull this up
Where do
now.
we
I want to read
begin,
some of these
right?
comments
In
real quick.
terms of unpacking this social milieu that we're dealing with here, right? And when I was listening to you talk, I was thinking about this classic novel entitled "The Invisible Man," and I'm thinking about how these institutions they use these diversionary tactics, and they play the shell game, and they also play the game of divide and conquer. If you recall, in that novel that Ralph Ellison wrote, at a critical juncture in that novel, this main character encountered a Booker T. Washington type of character, right? And he had received a letter, but the principal character didn't know what the content of the letter was, right? But there was a statement that was shared with certain people in this story, and the statement was this: it said, "Keep him running." And that's what I think happens to Americans of across racial and ethnic stripes. They use this content, this game of divide and conquer. They're pitting us one against the other, but all they're doing is keeping us running at each other, running into each other, running against each other, right? Rather than really seeing what's truly going on. It's the classic overplay for the underlay, right? What do you think about that, Candice? Using diversionary tactics and using tactics such as divide and conquer, right, in order to keep people off base. What do you think about
Absolutely. I think it's used all the time. And as you know, like some people have that dispute about Willie Lynch and whether the letter was real or not. And whether that letter is real or not, it doesn't change the fact that
But the
the
practice is real.
content of that, it doesn't
Absolutely.
change the fact that's it's very true even today.
Absolutely.
Even again, when we talk about with racism, the idiot, how stupid it is. Because again, that's another divide and conquer thing. But because it's not like I, I agree. I'm gonna put it that way. I agree. The divide and conquer, and they do it all the time, and it works. And you have people that pull focus, and they talk about things that are it's nonsense, and it has nothing to do with what you're talking about. And when you present them with facts, the cognitive dissonance is real, or their need to hold on to what they feel is their power. All of that is real. I think that these systems have been built in a way that just mentally it works so well on people that people don't even, and then it's the main people who are not thinking for themselves calling someone else sheep. It's the main, that's what you run into.
Sheeple,
and it's just like, yes. And it's just like, or and again, I'll kind of revert back to your early argument of you believe that Terry Crews was saying that, we don't all think the same. And I think that that's another thing.
I didn't say that. He said that now.
But
I'm just repeating what he said in an interview that I saw.
Right. But what I'm saying is when you fast forward, but I think that's the way that they pull focus is when you start talking, they start hitting you with talking points. And it's just like, where are you getting these talking points from? When did I say that? Or when, or acting like, or if you use this basic foundational thing, then you'll upset someone because everybody believes the same, or you can get everybody under the general idea of this one ideology, So I agree, Vic. I agree.
Yeah, it's great. What about this though? From the very outset, I raised the specter about what your boy Trump is doing, insofar as proposing that the public school system ought to be opened back up for the fall. Now, we say we love our children. Hear me good now. People say all day long that they love their children. Now, let me pose a question to you, Candice. Would you allow your child to go to school if your child was a third grader and whatnot? In this environment?
So there are several moving pieces to that. I'm going to start by saying, and this is coming from someone who does not have children, but who would also have a way, to not have to send my kids. I'm going to say the answer to that is absolutely not. It's not a safe environment. Too many schools cannot guarantee the safety of the children or the educators. You have a lot of schools. And that, keep in mind, that schools in rural areas, that schools in urban areas. I saw though where in an affluent area in Arizona, they're giving them the option of they have two options. They can either do a safe distance learning in person, or they can do online learning. And you have to understand, if we try to fast forward that to Michigan, we have a lot of rural areas, and then we have a lot of urban areas where when we think in terms of infrastructure, we're so far behind because we've not thought of broadband as a form of infrastructure. So you have a lot of children who don't necessarily have access to be able to learn online. You also have a lot of children whose parents are frontline workers. And by that, we mean they work in the service industry. They work in the grocery stores. They work in the fast food restaurants. They're nurses. They're CNAs. They're doctors. They're police officers. They're firefighters. They're bus drivers. Just your service industry jobs, to where as long as they didn't have to go to work, it was fine. But now they have to go back to work. I think that is a challenge to have to contend with. I have to go earn this money and make sure my child is properly educated. And so you have some people. I had a conversation with someone who she said it's not fair to her because she doesn't have the option to not send her children, even though she doesn't want to send them. And she looked at it like it was a double-edged sword in the fact that not only is she going to have to go out, and because she's a frontline worker, she has to go out and risk her life every day, but now she has to send her children into an environment. Now you've got a whole thing where a family has the possibility of infecting one another. And then not only that, if you have single parents who have those possibilities, you've got to think about the fact that they cannot afford to, nor have time. We live in a country where people literally cannot afford to be sick. You know what I'm saying?
Let me pose this question to you, Candice. Would you call that leadership that will put people betwixt and between issues like that? I mean, what kind of leadership are we talking about now? We dealing with that would put people in harm's way. They would put children in harm's way. Let's
think
think
you gotta
clearly
be,
about this.
we gotta be real, and we know the bottom line and the problem. I guarantee if you trace all of this pushback to something, it's gonna come back to this every time.
Absolutely.
It's gonna come back to this.
Absolutely.
Even with the education, it's always about the bottom
money.
line. And the bottom line for a lot of people is that money. It's
Follow
those
the money.
dollars, and
Follow
it's
the
not
money.
right. And we've seen how in the middle of a pandemic, all of a sudden, all this funding, all this money that we never had, all of a sudden, here it is, and it's available. I think that we have a system that is built on making sure the average person is too tired to fight for themselves.
There you go. Keep them running. Keep them running.
Hamster wheel all day, all day. We have a system that does not work for the majority of the people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you've got people who literally lay themselves on the line, show up in storm capitals for a system that is killing them because they're so comfortable in it that when you present something different, they become violent toward you.
Absolutely. They'll shoot the messenger, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So what do we, you know what I see here as a common thread in our show since day one, Candice, we keep coming back around to the refrain, we the people.
Every time.
So what are we the people to do, Candice? Because to be honest with you, consistently, I know you've noticed this, almost every show we come back to this refrain. Every show. When City Hall's not working, when Congress is not working, when the White House is not working, when the police departments aren't working, it comes back. The constant refrain is we the people. What are the people to do?
Right.
No,
and the only thing that you
can, because some people say, you've heard the saying, you can't fight City Hall. That's what some people say. You don't have the agency as a little woman or a little man to be able to stand up and fight for yourself and to challenge the powers that be. That's what they say, whoever they are. What do you think?
Right. And what I'll say to that, when you say, well, what are we the people supposed to do? We're supposed to stand up for ourselves. Like at some point, you've got to decide that, because this is the only life that you get, right? This is it. You don't get another life. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is not a practice. This is all that you have. So you have to decide, what kind of life do I want to live while I'm here? What kind of life do I want to live for my children, for my grandchildren, for my grandchildren's grandchildren? What kind of life do I want to live for my family? Do we want to continue with generations of struggle? Do we want to continue saying, wait? I told you, I saw that interview with James Baldwin, and it's so crazy because he said, like, I'm 60-something years old and I've been waiting. What am I waiting for? This is the fact that we live in a country that literally parcels out freedom and fairness. And nobody thinks that's strange. That literally they parcel out opportunity. Yes. And even though we might say, you know, if you're white, you have an opportunity to do X, Y, Z, they'll believe X, Y, Z about you. The thing that you got to understand is, and we've moved to a point in society where if you're not wealthy and white, even you got a feeling. Even you got a feeling, but because you're so blinded by the whiteness, you don't recognize the fact that you have a ceiling too.
Yeah.
But I think that the crazy thing is you're sitting up there and you're fighting and you're making enemies of people you should be in allyship with.
Absolutely.
Because at the bottom line is you got 99% who are barely scratching the surface, not even touching the wealth that the 1% have.
Yeah, true.
And you got the 99% down here fighting each other, down here arguing with each other. That was like when we found out that Walmart made billions of dollars in 1 year and didn't want to give people raises. And when when I was in the comment section, you had people who worked for Walmart who were struggling.
Yes.
They were arguing on behalf of Walmart and why this family that is never going to have another worry in the world, if they gave out $1 billion worth of raises, it would still be fine.
Absolutely.
That you have them arguing about why the CEOs deserved that money. They deserve money because of your labor? Come on. What are you thinking? How are you so far gone that you don't have enough sense to take care of yourself?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I want to read a
Absolutely,
couple
my
of
friend.
these comments. I want to read a couple of
Okay.
these comments.
Okay.
Shardy said that the unfortunate thing is that many elected officials don't care about the fact that they're supposed to work for us and think it's the other way around. And for career politicians, they get way too comfortable in office and don't do anything. Shardy, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I keep saying people being in Congress for 40 years and y'all keep arguing saying the Dems aren't doing anything or the Republicans aren't doing anything or this is the Republicans' fault or this is the Dems' fault. If they all been sitting down there 40 years together, something's up.
The
Anyway,
case for term limits, huh?
Right.
The case for term
you
limits.
know I believe limit them. Yep. Limit them. Because at the end of the day, Vic, I feel like if you say you really care and this is something you love and this is something that you do and you're for the people and you care about the people, then when your term limit is up, guess what you're going to do? You're going to train the next generation. You're going to sit there, you're going to consult, you're going to teach them how to move forward. You're not going to sit there for 40 years having the same arguments. You're not going to sit there for 40 years acting like, oh, no, I can't do it. Or, oh, no, they're the evil ones. They're the bad ones. It's like, y'all been sitting down there 40 years together.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I just feel like we need to limit that. And then people keep saying, well, there's no point in that, or you term out experience. Again, if your heart is in the right place, you're going to take that experience and you're going to make
somebody else
somewhere around there and you're going to help people.
Absolutely.
If it's really about helping people, if it's not about corporate dollars or corporate interests, if it's not about whatever little self-ego stuff, then guess what? We won't lose that experience. We won't.
Absolutely.
If it's really about something bigger than you, then guess what you're going to do? Vic, at no point in time, even the 2 seconds when I didn't work in government, and Vic, you can attest to this, I always use my education and experience in that sector to do what? To help people. It doesn't matter if I'm there or not. If I know that I understand the policy, then what do? I get on there, no neighbor left behind, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And what do? I break down this policy.
Absolutely.
And I tell you what this means. Nobody's paying me for that. You want to know why? Because I believe what I'm saying, and I'm not just gassing.
It's part of your passion. It's part of your passion, what you believe.
I believe that people have a right to a life that they can enjoy. And I believe that right now we have a lot of things that stops life from being enjoyable for people. And a lot of that starts with policy. A lot of that starts with the money that people make. A lot of that starts with income. Why do you get to have yachts and billions of dollars? And you got all these people working under you. Working day in, day out, got kids that they can barely see. That they've got to worry about, can I pay my car insurance? True. And you mean to tell me you make not $1 billion in a year, but billions of dollars in a year, and you don't think you should give those people raises? You don't think you should give those people more money? You want to know why they don't think that? Because if you mess around and get enough money, you mess around and think enough, then I might actually have to go do some real work for myself. Because you might not come back to work. Because what was their biggest argument about unemployment? What was their real gripe with unemployment? Oh, these people are making more money now. Now that they're getting unemployment than they were at work. So now they're lazy and they won't want to go back to work. Are they lazy, or is your system messed up? Because you had people that were willing to work. It wasn't like, oh, sit at home. It wasn't like these people were sitting at home saying, oh, I'm not going to go to work or just pay me to do nothing. They were busting their butts for the bare minimum.
True.
The fact that you're still fighting with a national unemployment of what, $9 and some change, a federal unemployment of that. So you're robbing people. You don't care about people. You don't.
True story. True story.
The nerve of you to call somebody lazy that's sitting there toiling at your store, toiling at your factories, working your jobs so you and your family can go hop on a yacht and go do whatever it is you're doing. That's
working
fine.
2 or 3 jobs, Candice. Working 2 or 3 jobs. In some cases, many cases without health care. Without health
insurance.
I
understand, you know what? And that's another thing. We're fighting health care. Then you got them wanting to parcel out healthcare because they don't want to pay the insurance companies who are also trying to get some money. So now you got them saying, we don't want to pay for this in your healthcare. We don't want to pay for that. We don't want to give you this. We don't want to give you that. It's like, and not only that, but dealing with the general public is stressful. Everybody is different. Everybody thinks differently. Everybody sees things differently. So to on top of that, have to then contend with, I work in the service industry. I barely make any money. I've got other people who work in industries where they barely make any money. So now once we all get together and get up under each other, we're all disgruntled and attacking each other.
Exactly.
When the reality is you make enough money
Exactly.
to properly distribute this wealth and you don't.
Absolutely.
And I got to read some of these Facebook comments.
Okay. Go right ahead.
Jeff said that private schools here are doing the same, giving parents the option, meaning to go online or go in person. He said that's what private schools here are doing as well.
Okay.
Shardy said, I was very upset while watching the press conference the other day when Donald Trump and several K through 12 and college administrators met around a table speaking about the importance of students returning to school in the fall, when they all know that sending the students back to school places them in a very dangerous situation to contract the virus. They're concerned about the money and not the lives of the American people.
Absolutely.
One of the Facebook users said most people are not even listening to this conversation. How do we get us to listen? I don't know. Share it. I don't know. Here's the conversation. I don't know. Paul, yes, we do miss you, Paul. I think Paul just came in here to say that we miss him. Paul, to make sure that we're paying
Where's
attention.
Paul coming from, man? Where's Paul at?
I don't know, but I think we got an even better substitute today. No offense, Paul. Carl said the CDC never recommended that schools be closed. They have to go back sometime. So when? He also said with every shot, he said, hi, Paul. Then Shardy said, Candice is speaking the truth. They don't care about the average everyday American citizen at all. I wonder how come they don't show the U.S. Supreme Court on TV. So this is the thing. And I'm sure we're getting our 5 minutes till 6. The combo's flowing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Shardy said, the way we get people to listen to this conversation is to share and start a watch party. There you go. Share and start a watch party. We have
Start
no
a
problem.
conversation, huh?
Right.
A true dialogue, right? Can we
right.
have a true dialogue, Candice, today? You think? Are
we
we able to do that?
I'm fine with it.
Here's the thing, though, Candice. You got to sit down with 3 people. No one can have the same viewpoint.
We do that every week. Well, Mike, I don't know what Mike does. But basically, the answer to Carl's question, Carl, I want to ask you: are lives important to you? Lives, period. Do they matter to you? Because you're saying the CDC never recommended schools closed.
Well, Trump is strong-arming the CDC right now, though. He's strong-arming the CDC, and they're cowering.
Did you see that he tweeted about them? He tweeted about them. He said, I don't agree with what they said. I'll have a meeting with them later.
There you go.
This is turning into a dictatorship. And I think it's kind of scary that his supporters don't see that. I think it's scary that they don't see that. To have somebody who, if you disagree with them or you have an opposing opinion, then they bully you out of it, or they make you, they fire you. I also want to point out, don't think we didn't notice that how he fired that prosecutor in the Southern District of New York.
Absolutely.
The one who was coming after him. How they tried to say he resigned, and when he spoke up and said, I didn't resign, and then William Barr told him, well, you can either resign or get fired, but you're out of here. But keep in mind, that's the same area where if his tax returns are able to be viewed, guess where they're going? Southern District of New York.
There you go.
Don't think
the Supreme Court ruled on that just the other day, a couple of days ago. Yeah, but
then I think they said something like hold off, or so. I have to
for about 30 days, I believe, 25 to 30 days.
Because I thought at first they said that the prosecutor could see it, and then I think they might have ruled differently. So I'll have to.
No, they ruled against Trump now. They ruled against Trump.
Yeah, but then something else.
The court does have access to his taxes, but it's going to take 25 days in order for them to get their hands on it.
But he's appealing that. And guess what court it went to, though? The very court that he removed that prosecutor that wasn't afraid to prosecute him.
There you go.
So don't think that's strange at all. Don't think that's strange at all. Like at this point, but the choices he's making, they're literally
antithetical to the American way, right?
Come on now. But they're really only in the interest of him. They're only in the interest of himself.
I was joshing. There was a point I was trying to make there, but true story. It's antithetical to democracy, right?
But this is the thing that's, and Shardy said the Trump supporters do see it. They're just choosing to ignore it. But this is the thing that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely.
Their ox is being gored. That's what it is. I'm fine with it as long as my ox is being gored.
Right.
Kind of selfish, but you know.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out, and Vic, maybe you can help me.
Okay.
Hold on, I was doing something.
Okay.
Maybe you can help me out, Vic. How do you see us moving forward?
Woo! That's the $100 million question. Moving forward in what sense, right? I mean, we've covered a lot politically, socially, economically, in terms of reforming the political system, the social system, the economic system.
Mm-hmm.
All the above. Well, my name is Solomon.
My
name is Solomon, everyone.
But if we're saying we the people, Vic, how do you move forward with that?
Well, I think first it has to start with a committee of one, right? It has to start with the individual, all of us. And then I think that we have to reach out to like-minded persons, within our sphere, and sit down and truly have an honest dialogue and conversation about it. And also, it was said at one time by Kwame Ture, along the same lines: organization. We have to educate, mobilize, and organize, right? We have to sit down with like-minded people and draft out an agenda and a strategy and a plan and roll it out. But we have to be organized in terms of doing that if we're going to affect change. As you always say, politics is local, right? So it starts locally and then it moves outwardly from there.
Right. I guess it has to start with a mindset change. Let's start at the
consciousness, fact that, yeah, absolutely.
I think people need
in consciousness.
I think people need to realize, again, when they run for office, they're interviewing to work for you. Start there. When they're elected, you've hired them.
Absolutely.
Now, keep in mind, I understand, like we've said, everybody doesn't think the same, everybody's not good, but absolutely, you've got to take a look at your life. Take a look at your life under Trump. Take a look at your life under Obama. Take a look at your life under Bush. Take a look at your life under Clinton. If you're, and I gave you 2 Republicans and 2 Dems. If your life has not changed at all under any of them, and the one thing is those people have rotated and Congress has been the same. Come on. And Congress has been sitting there for like 40 years.
Absolutely.
I've given you 4 different presidents. Somewhere in there, maybe you like one of them or like something about one of them.
There's some stuff in the game. Something's not right.
All I'm saying to you is that
what it is?
Listen,
are you suggesting there's something that's wrong from a systemic standpoint, Candice? Is that what you're arguing? Is that what you're maintaining?
I just gave you 16 years to go back and look at your life.
Are we looking at the?
I gave you more than 16 years.
Let me pose this rhetorical question to you, Candice. You mentioned 4 different presidents, right? Are they all the same? Hear me out. Are they all the same man? Think about that. Makes you say, Even though they wear the moniker of Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, moderate, centrist, are they all the same man?
Hey, Carl, I noticed you keep trying to.
That's a book, by the way. That's a book, by the way.
Hold on, Carl. I noticed you keep trying to pull focus. Vic and I have not been talking about Black Lives Matter. Carl said, how can you support Black Lives Matter and not know their mission statement? Carl wants us to definitively say either we support them or we don't. So if we say that we do, then he can go, well, why didn't you know their mission statement? And if you say that you don't, then he can be like, oh, well, you said you didn't support them, but you sound like them, or he can bring it up later. Carl, we're not talking about that.
We're talking about the same man, Carl.
Carl, it seems like in a conversation when we're talking about how we all need to be unified because we're not wealthy, you want to pull focus and talk about race. Carl, what did I just say about the race and the race dating and how low of a thought process that is? Come on up a little higher, Carl. Come on.
Here you go. Here you go. But I'll check out their website.
Carl said that Trump is a great president.
I'll make a personal point of checking out their website.
Carl said that Trump is a great president and he will lead y'all out the wilderness.
I don't know, my friend. He's lacking, man. He's flunking the test, man. He's flunking the test.
Carl, what has he done that's been so great? What has he done, Carl? And not only that, you bringing it back to Trump, Carl. When I just said I named you 3 other presidents, and I said if your life didn't look look any different under the three of them, then what are we
There you
doing?
go.
What are we
Absolutely.
doing? Carl, you want to keep having a conversation about Trump because that's your guy, and I understand that, but that's not what we're doing.
Exactly.
That's not what we're doing. That's not. I feel like that's counterproductive, Carl, because of the simple fact that, again, I gave you 3 other presidents, and I said, has your life personally gotten any better? Has it changed? I also told you, if not, take a look at Congress and how they've been sitting there for years.
Take a look at Moscow Mitch. How long has Moscow Mitch been up there, man, in this position?
Man,
Forever.
I heard that Mitch.
I thought they were draining the swamp, Candice. I thought they were draining the swamp.
The swamp is looking dirtier and dirtier.
Come on, man.
Dirtier and dirtier. The swamp is filthy. It's a cesspool at this point. You can't tell me you're draining the swamp and then you go ahead and give millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in relief to rich people. You can't tell me you're draining the swamp. You can't tell me you're draining the swamp if you had a chance to give out the CARES aid. And a lot of the money went to business people.
Exactly.
You can't tell me you're draining the swamp if you gave out a $1,500 stimulus to everyday people, but then gave out an even bigger stimulus to corporations. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. You're not. You're not.
This is amazing, man. This is amazing. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a quick question, Candice. Let's say, for instance, that I'm just curious to hear what your take on this is. Let's say, for instance, that Trump does, in fact, lose the election. What do you think the GOP is going to do, Candice? Is it going to rebrand itself? Is it going to try to make itself over? Or is it going to be more of the same? What do you think?
You want to know what's funny? Is Carl actually just answered your question. Carl said Mitch will pass and there will be another. So Carl already answered your question.
They'll roll Mitch out and roll somebody else in.
I think this is what happens. I think that they'll do what would appear to be a rebranding. They might even pull one of their first moves. They might go back to being Dems. Remember how they came and infiltrated the Republican Party and took it over? They'll probably go back to being Dems and take that over. And the Dems will be the bad guys. We got a lot of stuff that's just not working. It's just not working.
No doubt about it.
It's not working. It's not working. It's not working. I don't know how else to put it. It's not working.
So what do you think the future holds? You know what I'm saying? Seriously.
I think that
what does the future hold for America?
I think that if the American people don't take advantage of this window that we are in, this window of opportunity where you can push for true change.
Okay.
Because again, you've got what's going on. You've got the death of George Floyd was these protests were a long time coming.
Change. Yeah.
These protests were a long time coming. There's been a problem. This has been on its way. And I think that I will say is Black people take advantage of this opportunity to push for policy for Black people. And I'm not saying for Black people, I'm saying as Black people to push for policy where you shouldn't have to tell people don't use chokeholds, or the fact that a lot of people did have the no chokeholds in place, but they just weren't adhering to it.
Absolutely.
But I would say, and this is the thing that I don't understand, perfect example. Governor Whitmer gave a press conference the other day, and the bulk of that press conference was talking about racial bias. It was talking about how these bias have been a problem as far as implicit bias, how it's been a problem in the healthcare system, how it's been a problem, obviously legally and all of that. And so she was talking about bringing about change, right? And making sure that these bias that they had implicit bias trainings and people understood how to deal with stuff and making sure that the playing field was even. In the comment section, buddy, you would have thought she said, I'm taking everybody's firstborn that's white. Then people were in the comment section talking about why is this all about Black Lives Matter? She didn't even say all that, but okay, but I guess that's what they hear. Then they were in the comment section talking about, oh, well, why is this a race baiting speech? Why is this? Why is it that? And I just thought, like, this is crazy. You all don't understand the concept of that is like me coming into your hospital room, you
Yeah.
being sick, me coming into
Mm-hmm.
your hospital room perfectly healthy, but doctor, don't worry about their kidney or their cancer. I've got a hangnail, or don't worry about. You don't understand that, and this would, and I would feel the same way of
Mm-hmm.
if that's like, say you have a child, one of your
Okay.
children are sick. Are you gonna go, okay, but all of my children matter while your children are sick? One of your child
Mm-hmm.
is sick, or one of your children
Mm-hmm.
have an issue, or are you going
Mm-hmm.
to nurse that child back to health so it can be on the same playing field as the rest of your child, so they can be just as healthy as the
Absolutely.
rest of your children? And
Absolutely.
another thing that I don't understand is there's not one law that can be passed in this country for Black people that will not benefit everyone else. That is the thing that they don't seem to understand. We're
Absolutely.
not asking for them for some form of elitism or some form of we're better than you. We're literally saying be the country you claim you are, do what you say you
Mm.
believe, and give everybody the same equality and equity. That's it.
Absolutely.
And y'all know that's what we're saying. But I think what happens is you'll get so wrapped up in your privilege
Yeah.
that equality and equity starts to feel like a loss to you. When someone else has to be on
Mm.
another level, when someone has to be on the same level as you, it somehow is intimidating for you.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like that is another sick issue that you need to check in. That's
Mm-hmm.
sick. It's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely sick. That rather
Mm-hmm.
than look at the situation and go, man, that's really messed up. This country has really been messed up from its conception of how it deals with people.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs to be treated the same. And if I really feel that way, or I really believe that, I'm not going to complain, because keep in mind, if the police can't choke my Black behind, they can't choke you either. The line,
Okay.
just think about that. It's not like, oh, the law says, oh, don't choke only Black people. Go ahead and choke
Yeah.
white people. It's
Exactly.
not like the
Exactly.
law is saying, oh, only give Black people health care and give white people crap health care.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is saying any of that. Nobody's pushing for any of that. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
asking for any of that. What we're saying, and here I am about to sound like Martin Luther King, America, be who you say you are, do what you said you were gonna do. Be who you say you are.
That's right. That's right.
If this is who you say you are, other than that, just be honest then and just come out with it. We don't
Mm-hmm.
want you. We're not helping you. We're fine with being racist. We don't like you. I'm okay with you saying that too. That's not, because a lot of times when you open your mouth, it's clear where you stand.
True.
It's clear.
True.
I think
True.
sometimes people say stuff and they don't even realize how ignorant the stuff they're saying is.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said earlier that they had a whole conversation with I was talking to a white woman who said she had
Okay.
another conversation with another white person who said that basically, oh, Black people are more affected by corona because they have large family gatherings. What BET movie were you watching? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What do you
That was a
think?
rather simplistic analysis, right? I
Come
mean,
on now. What do you think this is?
wow.
Like, but that goes to show you the
Yeah.
stereotypical views that they have,
Absolutely.
or you know what I'm saying, or just the amount of ignorance and the amount of, and when I say ignorance in this case, I mean ignorant in the true definition, meaning you simply don't know any better. Like that
Mm-hmm.
just sounds crazy. It's like
Yeah.
when somebody asks you for fairness, then you start talking about stuff that doesn't even happen in reality, which
Mm-hmm.
lets me know you don't even know a lot of Black people, do you?
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when they start talking, I'm thinking, where did you get that from? Why do you think if somebody says, oh, all white people are racist, then you get upset, but you can say all Black people are something? I
Mm-hmm.
just really think about this, but I don't really want to go too far into all
Exactly.
of that. A Facebook user said it's almost like we are in a vicious cycle no matter who we vote in. The good ones who are truly soldiers and want to make a real change always seem to meet a brick wall along the way, trying not to be negative. No, I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I
Mm-hmm.
agree with that. But I also agree with the fact that we make the mistake of voting in people or re-voting them in because we're familiar with their last name and we don't want to just take a look at it and read it. You know what I'm saying? We make that mistake all
Absolutely.
the time. That's how you end up with people that sit there for 40 years. Is, oh, this name sounds familiar. They sent me
Mm-hmm.
some mail before. When you're not looking
Mm-hmm.
at what they're voting for, or how they're voting, or how it affects you in your everyday life. And if you want to bring it even more simple, and you want to bring it back to when you look at, you have people that are literally they're sitting there, they're prosecutors for years, they're
Mm-hmm.
sheriffs for years, they're drain commissioners, they're all this different stuff for
Mm-hmm.
years because people are familiar with their name, and then they'll get their
Absolutely.
buddies to go vote for them, and then everybody else will just vote for them because they're used to seeing the name, or they're used to
Mm-hmm.
seeing the color of their of their style. Ooh,
Yeah.
red and blue. We see this every year. Just vote for the red and blue guy. Something like
Hold
that.
on.
Mike is back in the pit. Are you? Wait. Candice, Mike popped into the screen. And he was talking as he popped in.
Because Mike don't know how to not talk.
He never
Mike
stopped.
does not know how to not
stopped
talk.
talking, Candice. He never stopped talking.
Mike, I was literally in the middle of a sentence. Literally in the middle of
Mike held a conversation with himself for like the past half an hour.
Man. But like I'm saying is you have people who what this person said is correct. Or I think some of this you gotta own some of this, or you vote in your friend who you know ain't got two pieces of sense when it comes to what you voting a man for. Can't do the job, but then you want to get mad when something doesn't work your way, or you don't get some funding in your city, or you want to have the nerve. You got the nerve to be mad at them and talk about them behind their back. You shouldn't have put them in office. Or just because you like the way somebody's speaking, or they sound like they have a lot of charisma, or they sound like they really care. You don't require them to have any real knowledge of what the job entails. My thing is, even if you don't have the experience, at the end of the day, can you tell me what your duties and responsibilities are, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it? Can you really break that down to me? Like, why is that not more of a requirement than something that is literally going to affect your life?
Right. Well, I mean, aren't we talking about the fact that it's all a popularity contest? It's about who's popular, right? Generally, who speaks the best to your issue, who you feel. It's about how you feel sometimes, not about what you think.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem. It's always been a problem. But I think as individuals, how are we going to set up the system differently? How would you have the system set up, Candice?
This is my thing though. It's not like there's something in place where it can't work for you. You don't make it work for you. You know what I'm saying? You don't. You again. I was
we the
telling
people
Vic,
are being passive. We the people are being passive.
Right. I was telling Vic while you were on your lunch break that that a lot of this stuff could easily be solved if you kept in mind the fact that when they run for office, they're on a job interview. When you hire them, when you elect them, you hire them. And that not only that, but you've got to continue to pay attention. But what happens is they keep you in these systems. They keep you in these systems and in this mode of where you check out because it's exhausting. But at the end of the day, you've got to check back in because this stuff affects you. I got to tell you though, we've got to wrap it up here. So Mike,
yes,
you got 1 minute since you
1 minute.
1 minute. Wrap it up.
Well, like I said, no to term limits. It is destroying us. We can talk about Terry Crews again next week. But also, I want to just say to everybody, we got to be safe out here. COVID is making a comeback, and we're never really left. And you got to be careful. This is real to those people who are out there. If you got a fool, and I had to deal with one at my parents' house who didn't want to wear a mask, but he's coming in to do a service for my parents. I had to check his butt. And he's talking about how the mask is probably a real problem and this and that. Look, if people don't want to respect your space and they don't want to wear their mask, like we need to tell them, get out of my space, particularly if they're performing a service for you. This is life and death. We got to treat it as such. Have a wonderful day. Peace, y'all.
Mike had 15 seconds left. What? Go ahead,
concise, man.
Brevity.
No, you good. You need to take a lunch break every week. Go ahead, Vic.
Right.
Go ahead, Vic.
Oh, it's on me. It's on me. I'll keep it real quick too, make it real succinct. I think in terms of our popular refrain of we the people, we're going to have to continue to educate, agitate, mobilize, and organize. That's the only way that we're going to be able to bring about effective change.
All right, look at us. We're cutting off early. So I will just close with, I literally sat here and talked the entire show.
Yes, you did.
So everything that I have to say and everything that I felt, please rewind the video, share it with your friends, like, comment, do whatever you need to do. Subscribe to the Spectacle, all of their lovely stuff they got going on. If you want to know when Whose Opinion Is It Anyway is coming back on your screen. We will be back here next week from 5 to 6 p.m. I want to thank Paul, who did us a favor and got us a better director this week. Thank you, Carl Jr., for stepping in because we needed it. But I just want to remind everybody we're here every week from 5 to 6 p.m. This is a show where you can chime in, where you can talk. But Carl is one of Mike's very good buddies. We love Carl.
No doubt.
And so it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your opinion is. It's always good to know. We're in this together to have this dialogue. So let's have this dialogue. We'll be back here 5 p.m. next week with Whose Opinion Is It Anyway with Candice
and Victor
and Mike.
And Mike.
Right. Mike can never just say his name. See you next week. Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. All right,